Have you ever taken off your socks at the end of the day and noticed a deep mark around your ankle, then wondered, why are my legs swelling like this even though I barely did anything strenuous today? If you are a senior, over 60, and recently you've started noticing that your shoes still fit in the morning, but by the afternoon they feel tighter, your ankles feel more tense, and your feet feel heavier, then I want you to pause for a moment. Because swollen legs and swollen ankles are not just uncomfortable. Sometimes they are a sign that the circulation system in the lower part of your body is working more slowly than before. It is not always something immediately dangerous, but it should not be dismissed lightly by saying, it must just be old age. I have met many older adults who say they do not have much pain. It is just that their legs feel heavier in the evening, their socks leave deeper marks, their ankles feel stiffer, and after sitting and watching TV for a long time, they stand up and feel their feet are heavy, slow to respond, almost as if it takes the first few steps before they truly get used to the floor again. That is a very important point in senior health, because your legs do not only need rest, they need to be reminded to move in the right way, especially the calves. The calves do not only help you walk, they act like a natural pump, supporting leg circulation and helping blood and fluid move back upward instead of pooling in the feet and ankles. The problem is, after the age of 60, if you sit longer, walk less, or only move very lightly, that pump can gradually become weaker without you realizing it. Today, I'm not going to put you through a difficult workout. I'm going to share with you one simple movement you can easily do in a chair, one of the most practical exercises for seniors that may help improve circulation and help your legs feel lighter after sitting for a long time.
Not all types of leg swelling are the same. Before you do any movement, I want you to do a quick 30-second check, not to diagnose yourself, but to better understand what signals your body is sending. Now, if you are wearing socks, look at the area around your ankles. Are the sock marks deep? Are they just lightly imprinted on the skin? Or do they form a clear indentation around the ankle? Next, look at both legs. Is one side more swollen than the other? Or do both sides feel equally heavy and tight? Now, use one finger to gently press near the ankle area for about 5 seconds, then release. Does the skin return right away, or does it leave a small dent for a few seconds? And finally, ask yourself, when do your legs usually swell? In the morning, at the end of the day, after sitting and watching TV, after a long car ride, or almost all day? These answers are very important, because if you understand your type of swelling, you will know how to use today's movement at the right time. Coming up next, before I share the main movement with you, there are a few signs you absolutely should not ignore.
I'm saying this part first so you know when your body needs to be checked more carefully. If one leg is clearly more swollen than the other, especially if the swelling comes with pain, warmth, redness, or unusual tightness, don't just try to exercise at home. If you experience shortness of breath, chest pain, unusual fatigue, or swelling that appears very quickly within just a few days, that is also a time to call a doctor or get checked soon. If your legs have sores, fluid leakage, skin discoloration, or if you have recently had surgery, taken a long flight, or have a history of heart disease, kidney disease, liver disease, blood clots, or vascular disease, you should be more careful. One thing many people do not think about: if your legs begin to swell after you change medication, especially certain blood pressure medications, do not stop the medication on your own. Ask your doctor. Because swollen legs and swollen ankles can come from many different causes. Exercise can support leg circulation, but exercise does not replace medical evaluation when the signs are abnormal.
If your swelling usually appears after sitting for a long time, standing for a long time, or becomes more noticeable at the end of the day, then now let's talk about something many people have never had clearly explained to them. Your calf muscles are not only the muscles that help you walk, they also act like a natural pump in the lower part of your body. Every time your calves contract, they create gentle pressure on the blood vessels and surrounding tissues, helping push blood and fluid back upward instead of allowing them to remain in the feet and ankles. The problem is that after the age of 60, many people no longer use this pump often enough. Not because they are lazy, but because life changes. Sitting and watching TV for longer periods, driving longer, resting more, and standing still more often. Whenever the calves contract less, fluid has more opportunity to collect in the lowest part of the body. That is when you notice swollen legs, swollen ankles, tighter shoes, deeper sock marks, and heavier legs in the evening. I often compare the calves to a sponge. If you gently squeeze it regularly, the water is pushed out. But if it sits still all day, the water stays there. So today's goal is not to exercise until you feel tired. It is to remind your calves to do their natural job again.
The simplest movement to begin with is seated heel raises. It sounds very small, doesn't it? But for many people over 60, this is one of the easiest ways to remind the calves to start working again, without needing to stand for a long time, without complicated balance, and without going to the gym. Now, sit on a sturdy chair. Do not use a chair with wheels. Place both feet flat on the floor, about hip-width apart. Keep your back naturally upright, but don't tense up. You can place your hands gently on your thighs or on the sides of the chair. Now, slowly lift both heels off the floor. Your toes should still stay in contact with the ground. You will feel the calf muscles at the back of your lower legs gently tighten. Hold there for about 2 to 3 seconds. Then slowly lower your heels back down. Don't let them drop. Lower them slowly, as if you are intentionally placing your heels back onto the floor. That is 1 repetition. Start with 10 repetitions. If your body feels fine, you can increase to 15 or 20 repetitions. But I want you to remember this. This exercise is not won by speed, it is won by control. If you bounce your heels up and down very quickly, you may be able to do more repetitions, but your calves may not truly pump well. Imagine your calves like a sponge. You don't squeeze it hard and release it quickly. You squeeze slowly, hold gently, then release slowly. As you do this, pay attention. Does one leg feel weaker than the other? Do your calves cramp? Do your ankles feel unusually tight? Or do you simply feel a gentle, comfortable contraction at the back of your lower legs? If it is only mild fatigue, that is usually okay. But if you feel sharp pain, increased numbness, or unusual swelling and pain, stop. This movement is especially useful after you have been sitting for a long time, watching TV, reading, sitting at a computer, riding in a car, or resting after dinner, because those are the times when fluid is most likely to pool in the feet and ankles.
Just 10 slow heel raises can be a very simple way to remind your legs, don't let everything stay still down there for too long. But this is the part many people often overlook. It is not enough to simply do this movement once and be done with it. What matters is doing it at the right time, when your body needs it most. For example, if you have been sitting and watching TV for about an hour, that is a very good time to do 10 to 15 heel raises. If you have just been sitting in a car for a long time, or you have just finished dinner and are resting, do a few repetitions before standing up and walking around. If by the end of the day you start to notice your shoes feel tighter, your sock marks look deeper, or your ankles feel tense, don't wait until your legs feel truly heavy before paying attention. See it as a small signal. Your calves need to be reminded to work. I often tell older adults that after the age of 60, the body does not always need a long workout. It needs short, consistent reminders at the right time. So instead of thinking, how long do I have to exercise? Think, when have my legs been silent for too long? After sitting for a long time? After standing for a long time? After a car ride? Late in the afternoon? Those are the moments when this small movement may be most helpful. In the next section, I will show you how to adjust this movement if you have knee pain, cannot stand for long, use a wheelchair, or need a gentler version on the bed.
Not every body after 60 is the same. Some people only have mild swollen ankles at the end of the day. Some people have swollen legs almost all day. Some have knee pain. Some have neuropathy, numb feet, or reduced sensation under the soles of the feet. Some people have recently had hip surgery, knee surgery, or need to sit more than before. So don't force yourself to do exactly what someone else is doing. If you cannot stand for long, do the seated heel raise entirely from a chair. If one leg is weaker, you can do one leg at a time, slower and with fewer repetitions. If you are lying in bed, replace it with pulling your toes toward you and then pointing them away, as if you are gently pressing a pedal. If you use a wheelchair, simply lift your heels slightly, wiggle your toes, or rotate your ankles within a small range if your body allows it. If you have numbness in your feet, do not exercise barefoot. Wear stable shoes and check the skin on your feet regularly. What matters is finding the safest version that your body can repeat every day. Using a chair, using a bed, doing less, or moving more slowly does not mean you have failed. It means you are starting in a smarter way.
To use this movement more effectively, pay attention to one very simple thing. When do your legs swell? If swollen ankles become more noticeable in the evening, after sitting for a long time or standing for a long time, your body often needs small reminders throughout the day to support leg circulation. If your legs swell after riding in a car, watching TV, or sitting through a long meal, do seated heel raises before standing up. If your legs are swollen first thing in the morning, or remain swollen almost all day, be more careful, especially if you have heart disease, kidney disease, high blood pressure, or are taking a new medication. If only one leg is clearly more swollen than the other, do not treat that as normal. The important point is, not every type of swelling needs the same approach. When you understand your swelling pattern, you will know when you need movement, when you need rest, and when you should ask a doctor.
Now, let's turn that into a very simple routine. Just 3 minutes. The first minute, seated heel raises. Sit on a chair and slowly lift your heels 10 to 20 times. Hold for 2 seconds at the top, then lower slowly. The second minute, ankle pumps. Pull your toes toward you, then point them away, as if you are gently pressing a pedal. Do this 15 times on each foot. The third minute, ankle circles. Slowly rotate your ankles 5 circles in each direction. Small circles are fine. No need to force a wide range of motion. If your legs still feel tight in the evening, lie down on the bed and elevate your legs slightly for 5 to 8 minutes. No need to do it forcefully. Just do it consistently.
After the age of 60, what helps improve circulation is often not one big effort. It is small movements, done at the right time and repeated every day. But there are a few mistakes that can easily reduce the effectiveness. The first mistake is sitting for too long and then trying to make up for it with one long walk. The body does not only need more movement, it needs to be reminded often. The second mistake is doing the movement too quickly. If you lift your heels as if you are just bouncing your feet to get it done, the calves do not have enough time to contract and release properly. Slow down. The third mistake is elevating the legs incorrectly. If your legs are only resting on a low chair but still remain lower than your heart, you may feel more comfortable, but the drainage effect will not be very strong. The fourth mistake is only massaging without movement. Massage may help you feel more comfortable, but the calves still need to contract to support leg circulation. And the final mistake is ignoring medication or underlying health conditions. If swollen legs or swollen ankles begin after changing medication, especially blood pressure medication, do not stop the medication on your own. Ask your doctor.
Exercising correctly means knowing what your body needs, when it needs it, and when it needs to be checked more carefully. Now, I want you to understand something very important. Don't wait until swollen legs or swollen ankles completely disappear before you call it progress. For many seniors, the first signs are often much smaller. It may be that by the end of the day, your shoes feel a little less tight. The sock marks are not as deep as before. Your ankles feel less tense. Your feet feel less heavy when standing up after sitting for a long time. Or in the morning, you may notice your ankles move more easily during the first few circles. All of these are signals worth noticing. I have seen many people give up too soon because they only look at the size of their ankles, but they forget to pay attention to how they feel. Do the legs feel lighter? Has the tightness decreased? Is walking more comfortable? If the answer is yes, even just a little, then your body is responding.
That is why over the next 7 days, I don't want you to do anything too big. Just start very small. On day 1 and day 2, do seated heel raises after each time you sit for a long period. Just 10 slow repetitions, no rushing. On day 3 and day 4, add ankle pumps while sitting on a chair or lying on the bed. Pull your toes toward you, then point them away. Do it gently, but with intention.
On day 5 and day 6, add a few small ankle circles. If your ankles feel stiff, don't force them. Small circles still have value. By day 7, look back. Are your sock marks still as deep as before? Do your shoes feel less tight at the end of the day? Do your legs feel less heavy when you stand up? Don't measure progress by perfection. Measure it by feeling lighter, softer, and more comfortable. After 60, the goal is not only to make swollen legs or swollen ankles smaller. The goal is for your legs to feel comfortable enough that you still want to stand up, walk around, go outside, meet your loved ones, and continue living your life. If your legs usually swell in the evening, comment evening. If only one side is clearly more swollen, comment one side. If you need the version done on the bed, comment bed version. Leg swelling is a signal. When you respond to that signal early, with small, consistent, and safe movements, your legs may begin to feel lighter, more reliable, and more connected to your life once again.